Hey everybody, welcome to Garden Time with Belle. Well, I don't know what's going to happen today on this July Walkabout garden tour because we have been fighting drizzle and rain all day. I see some blue sky, there's some dark clouds, it's still sprinkling ever so slightly, but you know what? I've been trying to film this video for 2 days and every morning we've had big thunderstorms. So we're just going to carry on and see what happens. So before I take you on my July garden tour, my walkabout as I call it, I'm going to ask everybody to please like and subscribe to my channel. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you found me. Just a little bit of a quick background, like I think is important when people are watching gardeners to know where in the heck they're gardening. What are their conditions like? Well, I happen to garden in a zone 6. I live here in mid-Missouri. This is our home, our property. I garden on 10 acres. I don't garden all 10 acres, but that gives you kind of a sense of where I am gardening. So we're really battling the weather today, so I'm going to apologize in advance. We've been having a lot of wind, so hopefully you'll all be able to hear me on the audio, and it's just slightly sprinkling, but we're going to carry on because we only have a couple more days of July left, and it wouldn't be a July walkabout if we didn't film in July. So actually, we're going to head up this direction here. We're going to start where I often start my walkabouts. Okay, we're going to start the July walkabout on the west-facing part of the house. Gets lots of hot sun in the afternoon. But I did want to come here, even though it doesn't look like there's much to see in this little narrow garden bed. I do want to bring your guys' attention to my beautiful, not so beautiful right now, but my beautiful Gertrude Jekyll climbing roses. If you've watched any of my walkabouts, you saw, especially in May, and I think I'll try to put a little snippet on the screen right now for you to see Miss Gertrude in all of her early glory. Now, it's the end of July. She ought to have blooms because she's a repeat bloomer. However, we in this part of the country, and I know a lot of you are suffering from Japanese beetles. And I will say I've been super lucky this year in that we've had Japanese beetles. They love roses, but I started seeing them, I guess, gosh, it was at least a month or so ago, and I went out every single morning and checked my plants. And if I saw any of them, and I did on my roses, I immediately dropped them into soapy water. That is the very best thing you can do to get rid of Japanese beetles. And I credit the fact that I didn't have a horrible infestation of those critters this year because I was diligent in the beginning so that they couldn't multiply and grow. So why is she bare and no blooms? Because they love the blooms of roses. And so I have decided to sacrifice her beautiful flowers so that it didn't attract Japanese beetles. So that's why she's not got any flowers. But as the weather starts to cool off a little bit here towards, in a month or so, hopefully she will start flushing out again. She won't have a big, beautiful flush like she did back in May and June, but I'll have some beautiful pink color here anyhow. So let's head down here where things are a little bit prettier. Okay. This is a really favorite place of mine in our property, the front porch. It is a wonderful place actually in the morning. Sometimes I'll come out here and have coffee because the sun rises back there. So this stays shaded. It's a nice deep overhang. But I just wanted to point out my 2 little containers here by the front door with this gorgeous coleus and some of that proven winners, surefire rose begonias that didn't do all that great this year. But anyhow, I just wanted you to see that I recently published a whole container update video just on the containers that I started this year. So if you haven't seen that, I'm going to encourage you, I'll put a link in the description below to check out my recent video on my containers. But we're going to go this way because this is something new that I put in this year, and I could not be happier with how this is looking. I am just delighted with this river of super petunias from Proven Winners. Isn't it sweet? I had a video where I showed you how I finally cleared out the front of this a little garden bed so that I can start popping in annuals so I can get some flower power out here in the summer. I could not be happier. So what you're seeing here you might want to come in a little bit closer. You're seeing the OG of the Super Petunias Vista series. That's bubblegum. This is silverberry. So I just alternated the colors all around. There in the center, I've got a new David Austin rose. Again, you got to remember, this is a baby rose. This is Sceptered Isle. It is a beautiful soft pink. And if you come in really, really close, you can see a tiny little bud there. Anyhow, it's a baby rose, and it will actually get about 5 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So it'll eventually fill in this location. Okay, the sun's come out. So real quick, here's another new rose in our garden. This is the beautiful Julia Child rose. It is a stunner. Look at that gorgeous yellow, and it is a repeat bloomer. Over and over again, it's going to produce all kinds of gorgeous flowers. And then real quick, just want to show you this, y'all that have been following my channel know this is a nice little raised bed my husband popped in here for me to grow more cut flowers. And I've got zinnias in here, and what I'm most proud of, if you can come in, let's see if we can get a really good close-up of this one. This is Senorita, and what I'm excited about with this variety is actually, I am trying to learn how to harvest my own seeds so that I don't have to buy seeds to grow flowers. And so these were seeds that I harvested from last year's Senorita zinnias and sprinkled those in here to see what they would do. And the germination rate was amazing. What you're seeing here in front is one of the best series, I would say, of zinnias. If you're growing zinnias for the first time, look for Oklahoma or Bennery. Those two types of zinnias are amazing. And this is a smaller one on the Oklahoma series, white. But anyhow, check out Bennery and Oklahoma series of zinnia seed, and you'll be happy you did. So here we are. This is a south-facing bed, so it gets loads of sun, and I have some sun lovers in here. I have one of my favorite buddleias, and this would be Miss Molly. Just come in and look at the beautiful hot pink blooms. Aren't they just so beautiful? What I did want to share with you guys, though, that I've been noticing about my buddleia is that I think because we've had so many thunderstorms and so much rain in the last couple of weeks, I would come over here when I was pruning and there would be like a whole branch kind of bent over, or I'd barely tug on it, it would come out of the ground. That's indicating to me that it might be too wet for this. So I'm hoping it'll dry out for us for a few days, because these are drought tolerant once they're established. So I think it might be getting a little bit too much water. So I'm going to watch it closely. And then of course, Perovskia, or better known as Russian sage. I've just got a couple of those, but that's just, isn't that just the most beautiful lilac purple color? No fuss, no muss, deer resistant, drought resistant, no pruning, no deadheading required. So right down here on the point of our retaining wall, I've got a coneflower. I don't remember the variety, you all, but it is so pretty. It's such a beautiful raspberry color. And then here's something that I wanted to show you all. This is a new planting. It's a baby. It's quite little right now, but this is from the Summerific Hardy Hibiscus series. And this is Cookies and Cream. What I love about this plant is look at that dark foliage, and then pure white with a pink throat, although it's closed up right now, but lots of buds coming on. So yeah, I'm excited about the potential of this plant because it'll eventually get 3 or 4 feet high and wide and fill in this point. And I just popped in some vinca, some white vinca around it because of the white flowers. So I thought that would go nicely together. So of course I've got my hostas here, but what I really want to show everybody is another one of my hardy hibiscus. This is a brand new shrub for me, brand newly planted, and it is already blooming its head off. And I'm going to ask you to come around because I want you guys to see. It's hard to see, and I've got another one to show you, but I want you to see the bloom. I mean, let me put my hand here. Look how massive this gorgeous bloom is. So beautiful. So I know a lot of you don't have big spaces to garden in, and You know, when I started gardening 40 years ago as a newlywed, all we had was a little concrete patio. It was maybe a 6 by 6 foot patio. And so I know what it's like to garden in small spaces, and containers are the way to go. I used to grow everything in 5 gallon buckets and hanging baskets and that kind of thing when I first started out. But I do want to, we're not going to go up on the patio or up on the covered porch and deck, but I want you to see from below my beautiful baskets that are filled with tiara pink, tiara blue, and saffron finch. My favorite summer annuals from proven winners are any kind of super tunia petunias. And again, I did a recent video on my containers, so check that out, and you can see an up close videos of all of my containers on the open deck and our covered porch. So here we are at another garden bed, and this faces east. The sun rises. In fact, it's behind a tree right now, providing me some nice shade for at least a little bit. But this is a trouble spot in our garden, and every garden has trouble spots, you all. Those of you that follow my channel on a regular basis, you know that I have whined and complained and been frustrated by this bed because it holds water. It holds water like crazy, and I could grow next to nothing in here. And so last winter I thought, you know what, instead of fighting against this, I am going to start figuring a way to select some plants that can handle sort of wetter, damper conditions, and this is what I came up with. You can see right now these beautiful hydrangeas. I mean, who doesn't love a hydrangea? This variety is called Limelight Prime. This is an improved version of Limelight. This will get about 5 foot tall, 5 to 6 foot tall, and I'm 5'5", so if that shows you a scale here. But these are brand new plants. I only planted them this year. So in the spring, we popped them in. So they are looking great. What isn't so great is they're not supposed to flop. But remember, we've been having lots of thunderstorms. The soil is really moist. So I think that's probably what happens to these. So do you see, this is nice and upright, but look at these. These lower branches are laying down, and that's concerning me. I'm just hoping it's because they're brand new, right? They're brand new plants, and as they grow, they'll produce sturdier and sturdier stems because you don't want them flopping. But hey, not everything is lost, because you know what I'm going to do? I just decided yesterday I'm going to come in and I'm going to harvest some of the flowers that are laying really low. I'm going to create a gorgeous centerpiece floral arrangement for the house. So all is not lost. Okay, so of course they are the foundation plants in this bed. But what you can't see is in the back, I've got some Siberian iris in Caesar Brothers. They're a spring bloomer, beautiful deep purple blue flowers. They're done for the season. What you can't see is Monarda. Monarda is also known for, this plant right here is Monarda. It's a native plant. Bee balm is the common name for it. Anyways, Monarda is supposed to also do really well in wet conditions. It's not in bloom right now, so I'm really not sure what's going to happen. Here is my fail. And I hate to say that because really it's an opportunity to learn. I mean, every year I try new things, and sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't. All right, take a look at this. See these grasses, this carex? Well, it looks scrubby to me. I am not a fan at all, and I planted 10 of them to be kind of the front plant in this border, and I hate the look, absolutely. So here's the thing. I want to encourage you all. Do not be afraid. If you aren't loving something, if you're giving it, you know, a season and it's still not performing, move it. Take it out, find a new place in your garden if you have the space, and if not, before you take it out, call a friend and say, hey, I've got these plants, you want some? I think in the right space, it would look fine. I'm not a fan at all of it. So I'm going to be taking that out and thinking this winter what I'm going to do differently next year. Okay, so here is our last summerific hardy hibiscus. brand new plant. Again, it's only been in the ground since like May, June. Here we are, the end of July. Look at this stunner. And I believe, if I am correct, this is Spinderella. Yeah, let's get really close into that gorgeous bloom. And here's my hand for scale. Look at that, and look at all the buds. I mean, it's loving it. So again, like I said, hardy hibiscus loves moisture. They love moisture. So far, this is a good plant for this spot. Okay, so before I take you up here, I have to show you. This was a happy accident. Do you ever have that as a gardener? Something works out and you didn't even plan for it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so a lot of us where I live have retaining walls. You see this? It's just part of how houses are constructed. If you have a basement and they have to cut out the land, they have to put retaining walls in. And look at this. Oh my gosh. So when I take you around, I'll show you on the other side, but this is a sweet potato vine. Okay, it's an annual, and I actually grew it to be a ground cover of my little lime punch hydrangeas, to be underneath those. This is one plant right here. But this plant is so vigorous that it started growing up the backside as well. And I thought, oh, it's amazing. I want to mask this ugly concrete retaining wall. I mean, I've thought about how can I cover it with plants, right? And get it out of the way. Look at that. And then here's the other one. So this is only 2 plants, y'all. I'm doing this next year. In fact, that big retaining wall over there, you see that big ugly retaining wall that I hate? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dot some sweet potato vine in the back of that one border on top and hope it drapes over. Chartreuse in the garden, I used to not grow things that had this coloration, but I am sold now. It just gives such brightness to your garden. It's a beautiful contrast against darker foliage. So anyways, sweet potato vine. So we're going to head up this side of the house, and this is north facing, not directly north, it's sort of north and east. And so here are some more beautiful panicle hydrangeas, and these are little lime punch hydrangeas. I've shown them a lot. There are 3, so they stay on the smaller side. They're about 4 feet wide and 4 feet tall. But if you come in really close, do you see the sweet potato vine? I put one in here and one in there, and they grew under just what I wanted. Ooh, and up and through. Look at this. They're up in here. And then, of course, if you take the camera and look, then up and over the back side. Oh my goodness. And oh, they're over in here too. So, you know, this is important to know. Sweet potato vine is a vigorous grower. And if you need a space filled in, that's it. There's our beautiful spiral boxwood. This is a new addition this year. We just planted that, I think, in April or May. I've got some coleus behind there. Oh, here's a brand new plant for me. This is called Perennia. Take a look at these blooms. Aren't they darling? I mean, really come in. They just are beautiful. So the idea, the Perennia was going to be the front of the border, but also what you can't see is the lamium. So do you see that plant with the silver and green foliage? That was supposed to fill in as a ground cover, and I'm not impressed, let me just say. All right, last spot I want to show you all. So we'll go up here and take a look. So as you can see in the back, again, my beautiful coleus that I propagated. These started out from the mother plant, and I made clippings, and I've shown you how to do that. So if you are interested in how you can take one coleus plant and trim it and propagate it to make many, check out that video. But that's what those are. So they started out as a little cutting that I rooted in, popped in the ground. They were this big when I planted them a couple of months ago. Look at how they're filling in the back of this side of the house. And again, I've got some more beautiful coleus. That beautiful lime green against the purple of the Petunia is just lovely. And then here on the top tier, you can see our centerpiece is our dwarf Japanese maple called Mikawa Yatsubusa. We call him Mr. Mikawa. Underneath, come over here, show you what I'm talking about? This is a new plant to me. Again, Brunnera. So I planted it last year. So this is just its second year, and it will continue to fill in this space. My idea here was to underplant Mr. Mikawa with the Brunnera. I've got a few little hostas in the back. And then the further you get away from the house, the more sun it gets. Up to the house is shaded, which is great. And then you can start in a deep bed like this in the front of your border. You can put in sun lovers, which is just what I've done. So these are all annuals. So everything isn't looking prime right now, everybody, because it just rained. And so, you know, the petunias are a little droopy. They would look magnificent right now if they weren't so wet. But I did want to show you that, you know, the further away you get from your house, where it's going to be shaded in the back, these love the sun. So you want to fill up the front of your borders with some sun lovers. And these are all annuals. Again, my favorite Super Petunia petunias. These are Vista Jazzberry. The purple, ooh, I'll put it on the screen. I cannot remember the purple variety. I got those on like a half price sale and just plucked them in. And this is my first time ever growing Super Bina. It's a proven winners. They have a whole series of verbena, but they're called Super Benas in a bunch of colors. And aren't those beautiful? I will definitely be growing those again. And y'all, this is so pretty too. That chartreuse, I can't remember the name of it, but I'll promise that I'll put it on the screen for everybody. So the beauty of nice, deep flower beds or garden beds is that you can put all kinds of different plants. Plants that love the shade in the back, like the coleus, the hostas, the Brunnera, semi-shade lovers like this Japanese maple, and then further away from the house, it's much more sun-loving plants like these beautiful annuals. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's July walkabout, our garden tour. Things are looking really great here at the very end of July, despite our mid-Missouri weather being extremely hot. We've had heat indexes in the low 100s for days. So humid, so hot, lots of thunderstorms, but I'm feeling pretty okay about how things are doing this year. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed today's quick garden tour around the house. Stay tuned because I'll be publishing a part 2 to my July walkabout, probably in the next couple of days. And that will feature our raised bed, veggie herb, and cut flower garden. And of course, I'm pointing that direction, our beautiful 2-acre pollinator habitat. So until next time, I wish everybody out there happy gardening.